Okay, we are being recorded, so Paula, it's up to you.
Okay, can we just get a roll call here before we ask for public comments? Can everybody just shout out their name? Martha? Martha, are you with us? Okay, I think I heard yes. Travis?
Yes.
Okay. Megan? April? You there? And Carney?
Carney is not logged in, Paula.
Okay. Andrew? I know we heard Andrew. Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have any public comments? Okay, we have no public comments. We've had roll call.
Paula, just for the record, we were called to order at 5:38 p.m.
Okay. And can we get the report of the regional director?
Hi, everyone. Not much to report. We're glad to hear that things are starting to work their way back into normal's not the word, but back to library service again. We are the main things I want to remind everyone about. There's a CARES grant out right now that is for COVID-19 items and kind of preparing for technology needs for the future should something like this happen again. That is due on June 15th. Heather has the information about that. And along with the LSTA grant, that is that's the same as it always is, the technology grant that is available every year. It's a 50-50 match grant, and that is open until June 6th, I believe, or July 6th, I believe. So you have some time to fill that one out, and I can help you with any of those as you need to. Other than that, we are back in the office. I'm actually at home right now, but we are back working in the offices again and are available if you need anything throughout this this strange time. So if you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to take those.
Thank you, Amy. Does anyone have any questions for Amy?
I do.
And Heather, we're going for both of these grants. Oh, sorry. Andrew?
We did budget for the match of that grant again, didn't we?
I can't hear him. I'm sorry. Heather, you're talking and you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, Andrew asked if we budget for the grant. Are you talking about the tech grant, Andrew?
Yes, where we budget for the match, correct?
Correct. The CARES grant is a non-matching grant, if I understand that one to be correct. And I may call you later and talk to you about that one on how we need to do that resolution and all of that stuff, if that's cool with you, sir.
That would be great.
And the tech grant, Heather, you said is already budgeted for?
We haven't actually applied on it at all yet. I was kind of waiting to see what our budget was going to look like if we know it by the time that the tech grant is due. But there's only a few things. We're doing pretty well technologically beyond what we might be able to apply for on the CARES grant. So that was one thing that I wanted to get on the agenda was that grant, those two grants, but we can put that in before you actually ask for the approval of the agenda, if that's cool.
Okay, that's all right. Let's go to the report of the director.
It's pretty much as submitted. It looks like maybe I didn't do a whole lot the past couple of months, but it's mostly been, you know, preparing for closure, what we're doing while we're closed, preparing to reopen. So, but if you've got questions about my report, I am glad to answer them.
Does anyone have any questions from Heather's report? Okay, no questions. Has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda? Oh, Megan, I'm sorry. Sorry, Megan. Can you give us
That's
your
okay.
report?
It's okay. My report is as submitted unless anyone has questions.
Okay, does anyone have any questions on Megan's report? Okay, no corrections, no additions. All right, as far as the agenda goes, sounds like we have an addition. Heather?
I just want to add a discussion about those two grants that Amy spoke about, just to kind of let you all in on kind of what I'm thinking about on that, and then an update on the most recent tech grant. So like item 9 we can be tech grant update, and 10 would be CARES grant, if that works for everybody else.
Okay, so we'll add in 9 and 10 for the tech grant and the care grant. It sounded like somebody beeped in. Is that you, Carney? Okay. All right, so can we approve, can we have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted with the additions of 9 and 10? Will someone make a motion?
The motion that we accept?
And that's April?
Yes.
Okay. Will someone second it? Andrew?
Yes. Yes,
Can you second it?
I second it.
Okay. So all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Oh, okay. We have to roll call. So Heather will ask for each person's vote to approve the agenda, adding 9 and 10. That's been motioned by April and seconded by Andrew.
Okay. April, what do you vote?
Accept?
Okay. Paula?
Accept.
Martha?
Accept.
Travis? Are you there? Did he log out? Travis?
You just unmuted me, but I can't hear anyone.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear now.
Okay. Do you accept the agenda as amended? We added 2 items. Number 9 would be an update about the tech grant, and 10 is the CARES grant.
Yes.
Okay. Andrew?
Yes.
Okay. Carney? I don't know if she can hear us. Carney, can you hear us? And welcome to every WebEx meeting ever since the dawn of time.
Gotta love technology.
Yeah.
Carney, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, since we can't hear Carney, we can say that the motion passes. So the agenda is approved. Okay, we'll go to old business.
Can you all hear Paula? I'm not hearing her through my headset.
Does that help?
Does that help?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have the agenda approved. We'll go to old business. And any comments about the minutes from the January meeting, January 27, 20? Any additions, any corrections? Okay, if we have no additions or corrections to the January 27 minutes, can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to
Move
approve.
the minutes.
Okay, that sounded like Andrew and Travis. Travis, did you comment?
I did. I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, so that's a motion from Andrew, seconded by Travis. And we'll take a roll call vote to approve the January 27 minutes.
April, April, do you accept?
Yes.
Paula,
I accept the minutes.
Martha,
Yes. I accept.
Travis, looks like there's some broadband issues. Travis, do you accept the minutes?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Andrew,
Yes.
Carney, Carney, can you hear us okay?
Okay, we'll go ahead and say that the minutes from the January meeting are approved.
Next
Next item is old business is approval of the minutes from the call meeting of March 23rd. And I am looking at the minutes.
I think we need
I think we need to check the date on that because
say March 18.
18.
What
What date was that meeting, Heather?
It was March 18th. It was a Wednesday.
Okay, so that the agenda just needs to be corrected for that. Change from 23 to 18. And this is the meeting for the pandemic. And does anyone have any additional corrections other than the date on the agenda for this meeting? If not, would someone please make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 18 meeting, call meeting? Someone to make a motion?
This is April. I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Thank you, April.
Thank you, April. Do we have a second?
Second it.
Who was that?
Martha,
Martha, was that you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Martha. Okay, seconded. All in favor?
We have to do a roll call.
Heather will take the vote.
Okay. April,
I accept.
April?
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
Paula,
I accept them.
Carney, Martha,
I accept.
Travis,
I accept.
Andrew.
I accept.
Okay, the minutes for March 18 passed. Thank you all. Okay, the next item is the Blountville branch manager position update.
Okay, since we had this lovely thing called COVID-19 descend upon our heads, while we have an open position, we have done nothing to fill it yet. I am kind of waiting until we get some kind of sort of back to normal before we actually advertise and everything like that. And I also kind of want to know what the budget's looking like before we really go crazy and all of that. So that's where we stand right now. We have not advertised. We can advertise at any moment now because the person who left all of vacation and all of that has run through. So we could advertise anytime.
Okay, any questions or comments on Heather's remarks? All right, the next old business is Blountville board member update. and we do have an open position. So Heather, do you want to discuss that?
Yeah, we do definitely need to find somebody to fill John Klein's vacant position. Again, I haven't really started beating the bushes because haven't really had anyone to talk to because no one's coming in the doors just yet. So if anyone has suggestions for someone who is in the Blountville area to potentially fill that position, please let me know and I can get in touch with that person and we can get the, all the details straightened out with the resolution in front of the commission and all of that.
Okay, any comments on anyone that you might recommend for serving on the board? Okay, can think about it and Heather, discuss it with Heather, myself, or whatever. Okay, we'll go to new business and discuss the reopening plan. Heather?
Okay, just like the reopening of Tennessee, we're doing this in phases, and as soon as we're through here, if I haven't sent it to you already, I'll send you out the, because I can't remember, I don't even honestly know what day it is. So if I have not sent you all out the phased reopening that I have written up, then I will do so as soon as we finish the meeting. But basically, we're doing it in phases. The first phase was reopening the building that began on May 18th. See, I don't even know what day it is. I don't know what month it is. May 18th, staff returned to the buildings. Book drops were opened. Items were taken out of the book drops and set aside for quarantine. Right now, we're quarantining for 5 days because we just don't know enough about the virus. There's not enough information about how long the virus lasts on different materials. So everything that I've read said 5 days is absolutely sufficient. So we have basically set aside items as they are returned in the book drop and then basically dating them. And then when that 5 days is up, we check them in. So that was the first phase. The second phase was starting curbside pickup, which that started today. The way that is going to kind of work, and we'll talk about that in the next bit of new business, but is that people put items on hold, and you all are patrons too, so you are welcome to do this as well. But patrons put items on hold. They are notified when those items are available, and they call to make an appointment for pickup. And this first week, until we kind of see how things are going, they are going to be just items that are located in the building. So people coming to pick up at Blountville are things located in the Blountville branch. If they're coming to pick up at Colonial Heights, they'll pick up at the Colonial Heights branch, etc. The next phase, let me see if I can pull it up.
Heather, this is Carney. I'm on by phone.
Okay.
Okay, welcome, Carney.
Thank you, finally.
Okay. We're just discussing the new business item number 1, reopening plan.
Okay.
I'm just kind of giving the overview of kind of how I'm envisioning things. Okay. During the second phase, which is the curbside pickup, we're still staggered staffing so if somebody does, hopefully not, but if somebody does contract COVID, then we're not having to quarantine an entire staff at a location and having to shut that location. The buildings are still closed to the public, and staff, when they are interacting with the public, wear masks and gloves. The next phase, there's no real date on this yet. It's going to depend on guidance from the county and from local health officials. But this is when patrons will start being allowed into the buildings on a limited basis. The number of patrons that are going to be in the buildings will depend on the size of the building, because each location is a little bit different as far as square footage. I have gotten that square footage from county maintenance, so we can kind of determine how many people we can have in. Staff will be required to wear masks and gloves when they're interacting with the patrons. Patrons will be encouraged to wear masks. We cannot require them to. We will have signage all the places that basically that everyone sees at all of the other retail stores that you've been to that says if you're sick, please stay home, etc. We will be continuing with curbside because there's still going to be people who just don't feel comfortable coming into the buildings yet. And we'll probably be continuing to staff Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Probably starting in the phase 1, we'll probably start staffing on Saturdays. But the buildings will only be open to the public for hours that will allow for cleaning and disinfecting the items that are returned and the facility. It is kind of my plan at the moment. I would love input from the rest of you all to start this phase unless we have a huge spike the Monday after 4th of July. If you all have or you would like me to start this sooner, I'm glad to entertain that. But I really would like to, that is kind of the goal that I'm envisioning, is the Monday after the July 4th holiday. So whatever that day is, I think it's the 6th. The next phase is basically the phase we are the longest away from. This is the return to quote unquote normal business. This is pre-COVID hours and in-person programming, but we will likely remain at adhering to phase 5 of the pandemic response that you all passed, which is basically how we'll be during flu season, you know, wiping all the things and you know, just making sure that things are cleaned and disinfected. I have reached out to county maintenance to get some plexiglass shields built for our service desks as a safety precaution. You've probably seen those everywhere you've been in the last, you know, 2 months. But I will be following up with Cindy. I sent her an email this morning and I haven't heard back from her yet, but I'll follow up with her tomorrow on that. But that's kind of how things look right now, and I would love input on any or all of that from you guys, because that's what we do.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I just don't think we should rush anything is the main thing.
Agreed.
Okay.
And I'm definitely, everything that I have put out to the public, to you all, to the mayor, to the health department does not have a specific date on it. I am definitely doing the whole data, not dates thing, because we just don't know enough about this. And especially with Memorial Day just having passed, we're getting ready to have Father's Day pretty soon, you know, where people are meeting with each other, potentially not social distancing. So I just don't want to move us too quickly, but I would like to get us back to some semblance of service as quickly as we safely and prudently can.
Heather?
Uh-huh.
Heather?
Yes.
Would you consider limiting the number of people in the library? I know some of, like my vet is only limiting 6 people in his office at a time. I didn't know if that's something that, since it's this public,
Yeah.
not
That's
private.
definitely in the plan. Is it's going to be based on the square footage. I've gotten several different algorithms based on, you know, what the fire code allows and what 50% of that fire code is. But our locations are set up, all libraries are set up to encourage people coming together rather than pushing them apart. So we will
Sure.
probably have to go at a much lower percentage than 50% of fire code. And at which point I will put on my mean face and stand up front saying, I'm sorry, until someone comes out, you can no go in. But I'll be nice, I promise. But, you know, we'll definitely have to have some gatekeepers saying, you know, please just kind of, and it looks like we have Miss Carrie on the line now.
Okay.
Yay! But yeah, it's,
Yes.
we will definitely be limiting
Hello.
how many people come in the
Hello?
building, Carney.
But they
Okay,
said,
thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, unfortunately, we cannot require masks, and I don't know that we can necessarily require them to submit to a temperature check. We will have a lot of signage out that says, you know, if you are exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19, please utilize our curbside or stay home. Because if we start checking people's temperatures and we turn them away and there's someone standing behind them, that comes into a HIPAA thing
yeah,
that
that's
we don't
well, I can't
necessarily
hear
want to
it.
get into.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Heather, anything else on the reopening plan? You mentioned curbside pickup. Do you have a process for that?
Yeah, the curbside pickup did start today. And Miss Carrie, I'm going to mute you for just a second. If you want to talk, feel free. But yeah, the curbside we did start today. These are I had all the staff. There was a lot on the hold shelf from before we closed. So I had staff calling the people who had things put on hold, asking them if they were still interested in having those items. And when they called them, they were supposed to set an appointment to come pick them up. We're doing approximately 20-minute appointments throughout the day between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. And basically how it works is they put items on hold either through the online catalog, they call the library if they're not familiar or comfortable with the online catalog. And if they don't know what they necessarily want, they can ask their librarian for reader advisory help. So if you know you like Westerns, but you don't really know what Western you might want to read, they can help you out. So it's a skill building exercise for the staff to do some reader's advisory. And then they put them on hold, and then you get a notification when they're actually available for you to pick up. You'll get a text if you were used to getting texts. You'll get a call if you were used to getting calls, at which point you're advised to make an appointment if you got a text. If you are called, they will ask you when you would like to make your appointment. How that works is you get here, and we're not requiring people to call. I know like curbside pickup and stuff at the grocery store, they say call or text. Well, we're not requiring anyone to have a cell phone. We're just assuming that if you set up an appointment for 10 o'clock on Monday, then we will wander out there at 10 o'clock on Monday and see if you're here. And we basically check the items out to the patron, have them in a bag. The staff that's doing the running will be in a mask and gloves. And they will go out and they will ask the, when you set the appointment, you're told all of the details, and they will hold up either their driver's license or their library card to the closed window so we can verify that this is the person that we are checking things out to. And they were supposed to have opened their trunk or their hatchback. Before we get out there, we put it in their trunk or in their hatchback, and then we walk away and let them close it. So we're trying to do this as contact-free as possible. We're not accepting donations at this time. So anyone you talk to who says, oh, I'd love to send these books or magazines or whatever to the library, just say thank you for thinking of us. And when we're back to normal, we would love to have them. But right now, we're not taking any donations. Any returns that they have, they just put them in the book drop or the DVD return. Every day they're going to put out a bin or a basket or something out front for things that are like lengthy audiobooks are a little bit big to put in the DVD return, so you'll put those in the bin. But like I said, today was the first day for curbside, so we're meeting as the staff on, I want to say it's on Thursday, to kind of have a sit rep about it and see how did things go, what do we need to change, things like that. But if you are missing having a library book, feel free to put one on hold and come get it.
Megan, can you give us an update then on item number 3, waiving print copy fees during phase 2?
Yes, I've heard from staff that they are getting lots of requests for making copies or more so for print services. And that is a big need that the library fills. However, I don't want our staff to have to touch money. So I am asking that you consider waiving print fees during this time to allow patrons to email a print job to the branch librarian for the branch librarian to print and then place in the patron's vehicle using the no contact methods and not collect money for that. So the patron still gets what they need printed, but our staff do not have to touch cash.
Okay, any comments on that? Okay, is anyone willing to make a motion that these fees will not be charged? I guess we can just stay until further notice.
If you would like to set a limit on a number of pages or a dollar amount, that would be fine. I don't think we need to print someone's, entire thesis for them, but they might need, 10 copies of their utility bill to apply for assistance or whatever.
Okay, with you all working on that, what do you think is a reasonable limit to set?
I believe that Johnson City, and maybe Amy can speak more to this if she's been to their board meeting, but I believe I remember Johnson City saying that they were going to give, I think, 15 pages for free, but don't quote me on that. But that probably seems pretty reasonable to me, is up to 15 pages, which would be what? I can't math, but if it's black and white, that's whatever 15 times 15 is. Who's my math person? But I think with faxing also, if we were going to do faxing, that's a totally different thing because we would have to touch something that they have touched. So we might want to wait on faxing until we actually reopen on a limited basis. But I would think that 15 pages would be an acceptable amount as far as budgetarily. But that's, again, completely up to you all.
Okay, you mentioned color. Does that include color copies?
Well, color, we normally charge 25 cents for color and 15 for black and white. So maybe setting it as a dollar amount instead of a page number amount instead. So, like I said, I can't
15
math.
black and
Go ahead.
sorry, 15 black and white copies would be $2.25. 15 color copies would be $3.75. So maybe we just say $3 and cut it in the middle.
Okay, any comments? So we want a motion that copy fees of $3 are waived until further notice. Will someone make a motion for that?
If you all,
If you all
I move
agree.
that we waive the, this is Carney, I move that we waive the fee for, or limit, whatever Megan said.
Okay, all right, $3, that's the $3, okay.
that sounds
good. Thank you, Carney. Do we have a
You're
second?
welcome.
Will someone
Will someone second Carney's motion?
I will. It's Travis.
Travis?
Travis, okay, thank you, Travis. All in favor?
We have to do it.
Heather will take the vote.
Okay. Andrew?
Yes.
Thank you. April?
Yes.
Was that a
Yeah.
yes, April?
Yes.
Carney?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
and Martha.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Okay, next on the new business agenda, new card procedures.
Okay, this one may need to be sent home with you all to think about because it's the way we do cards right now. They have to fill out a piece of paper, they have to sign it, and we put them in the system and all of that. So basically what we need to know from you all is, what are your thoughts about some kind of contact-free electronic signature, no signature? How do we want to do new cards especially before we reopen, to allow people to check things out, because right now we do require a signature on the form. So discussion about that would be beneficial, I think.
Any thoughts on signature required or not?
Heather, could we take, if they had the form, could the librarian or whoever take a copy, let them sign it, hold it up to the glass, take a picture of it, and that way they would have a digital form and they could send it to their computer for a digital file?
That might be one way to do it. Yeah, that might be one way to do it. Amy, do you have any thoughts on this? How other libraries are doing this?
I haven't heard about how they're going to handle this as far as signatures. I don't know that that's really anything you have to have. That's up to you. But, if you wanted to do a complete online registration, you could do that. And then they would just have to show you their ID when they come. That's an option. Basically, whatever works for you all as far as requirements. Some people just feel better having a signature. I don't know how strong that would hold up, if you had to take it further. Anyway, but really there's no real hard and fast rules as to what you have to have.
Because we do have the ability to have an online registration. I mean, it's already out there. It's on the website and everything. And, like she said, having that signature is good because they are accepting financial responsibility and whatnot. But if they show their ID and if there's something on the registration form that says, and maybe we can, instead of using the one that's on the OWL website, if we created one that we use in-house, maybe through Google Forms or something like that, that has a statement on it that says something to the effect of, by submitting this online registration and activating your card with the library, you accept financial responsibility or something. Would that work, Amy?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I think that would work. Sorry.
So what is everyone's thoughts about potentially just having an online registration, at least while we're closed to the public, so that they can have a library card and be able to get materials while we're closed, at least to limited services?
Does everyone agree with that? Any comments on disagreements with it? Okay, I guess since that changes the process, can we get a motion to have an online registration now without a signature to get a library card, a new card? Anyone make a motion for that? Any volunteers to make a motion?
I have a question. This is
April?
Carney.
Okay, Carney.
How would they, usually to get a card, don't you have to show a water bill or electric bill or something to prove your address? Would that be, how would that be proven
Well,
online?
well, it wouldn't be active online. They would have to actually come and be activated by showing that picture ID, like even through the window, so they could set up
All
their
right.
appointment like they would for curbside pickup of materials to do curbside pickup of their library card. And we would let them know that they need to bring a picture ID and proof of address if it's not on their ID. And we just verify that with what they gave us in the online form before we hand them their card.
Okay, sounds fine.
So that would become a requirement, Heather, in the writing for getting a new card. Okay. Carney, do you agree with that?
Yes, that's fine with me.
And is that a motion?
I guess. Yes.
Okay. So Carney will make the new card procedure motion.
Yes,
Do we
I
have a
moved
second?
it.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I was just going to make the motion, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Who seconded that?
I'll second
I
it.
don't.
Okay, Andrew. Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Okay, so the new card procedure passes.
We need
All
to
right.
we need to do a vote.
Okay, and Heather will take a vote.
Okay. All right. Thankfully, we don't have 26 commissioners like Andrew is probably used to having to sit through a roll
Yes,
call vote.
ma'am.
Okay, Andrew, what's your vote?
Yes.
Okay. April,
Yes.
Carney,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes. Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
and Martha.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Okay, the next item for new business is hotspot circulation.
Okay, this one may not be as much of an issue now as it was when we created the agenda, because I found out that hotspots are eligible for upgrade at the end of this month. So they probably won't be circulating until after we reopen to the public for limited services. But if for some reason they are eligible to upgrade on June the 28th, as soon as they are eligible, I plan on contacting Verizon. The libraries are gathering up the ones that have been returned, and several are sitting on my desk as we speak. But as soon as they are eligible to upgrade, I will contact Verizon and say, can we please have new hotspots, at which point they will send them to me and I will get them redeployed as soon as possible. Thankfully, we don't have to wait on people to return them because most of them are in-house right now because people returned them after having had them for 2 months. So this, I don't think, is going to be as big of an issue. However, if for some reason we are not able to reopen to even limited services that first week of July, we might want to go ahead and have this conversation. So if we do need to circulate them before your next meeting, which is at the end of July, and that we're not reopened to the public, because again, those also have a signature requirement. So we wanted to kind of know what your thoughts were about how can we circulate them without having them touch the forms, so what are thoughts on that? Or do we want to wait and see if we can reopen the first week of July and potentially have a called meeting about it? Or how do you all want to handle it?
Any comments?
You could do that, Heather, like if you put out the piece of paper to the patron, they sign it, they put it up to the window, and then that's when the librarian could take the picture of the form, and that the librarian would never have to touch the form again.
Well, the form is pretty lengthy. So did you want just the signature page as a picture that we keep for our records, or what?
I think that's all they need is the signature page.
What does everybody else think about it? Like I said, I'm hopeful, especially if we see the leveling off of cases that we've seen. I feel pretty comfortable that we can reopen that first week of July, so it may not be as big an issue as we're thinking it is. But because we can basically, handle the signatures when they come into the building. But if you all think that just having a picture of that signature page and then them keep the rest of it, if that's what you all want to do, then we'll do that.
How about other businesses? I mean, when we go to the bank, don't we sign the check and send it in? And any other thoughts on, do we need to go to those links for signatures in June, late June?
Well, and another thing is that not everybody who works on my staff has the ability to take a picture. I actually, believe it or not, have some staff members that do not have a cell phone. So that becomes a case of, it might be discriminatory against staff members who may or may not have a cell phone to take that picture. So that's something we have to keep in mind.
And would we want that picture on individual cell phones? I don't think so, probably. I mean,
No, that would be a really bad idea.
I think so. I think that, frankly, what do we think about just having them sign it? Has anybody signed anything in public, like a charge card receipt or?
Most everybody is trying to do as much contact-free as possible. It's, we could possibly have just that page inside their car and they sign it and we take it back. The staff will be gloved. So
I think that's pretty reasonable. Is anybody opposed to taking the signature page curbside, or even if it's curbside?
Heather, the recent CDC guidelines say that they're finding that objects are not, they're not transmitting the full virus, they're transmitting parts of it, which you need thousands of full viruses to contract the illness.
okay.
Now, of course, this may change in a day or two, but
That's right.
so the likelihood of exchanging the virus through touching objects is pretty low anyway. And if you add in the gloves, I really, unless the information changes, this is the most recent from the CDC, unless that information changes, you probably don't have a lot to worry about by exchanging that paper, especially if staff is gloved.
I think so.
I think so too. I read that recent recommendation from the CDC. It's not as transmittable as they were saying it was initially.
So we'll just kind of leave it as it is then. Because I've been trying to think about it and see kind of what we need to think about, what we don't need to think about. There's so much that we don't know. So, but like I said, the devices are being upgraded at the end of June, so this may not be an issue anyway. We may have people in the building on a limited basis and can have them sign it with the staff gloved and masked behind a plexiglass shield, I think that's sufficient to prevent, as long as they use their own pen. Or we wipe off the pen with a Clorox wipe when they're done with it.
Yeah, you can just disinfect the pen. Is everyone in agreement with that generally? I don't think we need a motion on that, but any objection to that? Okay. We'll move on to number 6, the E-rate update.
Okay, this is a very short update. If you all recall, for the fiscal year that we're in currently, there were some issues with charter and contracts and everything. And thanks to our intrepid, awesome assistant director, Megan Hopkins, we, I think, have all of that mess straightened up. But as of whenever the wave went out, we were funded to the extent that we applied for. So hopefully in this coming fiscal year, we will actually get the discount that we are supposed to be getting. So hooray.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, any comments? That's good news. All right, number 7 is social media policy.
Okay. You all got that. It's letter K in your packet. I believe I'm not sure if it was sent out for the March meeting or not, but since we are doing, and Megan can speak more on this as well, but since we are doing more online content, we thought it would be a good idea to have a social media policy that gives people who might comment on our posts, a way for us, if they're dropping F-bombs or they're being, involving in hate speech, especially with what's going on in the world right now, we want to be able to review those comments by staff and say that basically our social media then becomes the 6th branch of the Sullivan County Public Library system, and how they interact with us on our social media is like them interacting with us in person. So that's basically what this is. You got it in your packet. If you haven't had a chance to look it over, if we do need to table it to July, we certainly can. It's up to you all. But we will need to take a vote on this one to adopt it. So I turn it back over to you.
I just wanted to say that I read it and I thought it was reasonable. So that's my input on it.
Well, I agree, Carney. I read it and I think it's reasonable. Does anyone else have any comments on the social media policy draft of 32320? Okay, do we want to make a motion then that this social media policy be adopted? Anyone?
Do we, or do we want to wait so everyone can read it?
I would actually be okay with waiting until the next meeting, just so we can kind of look over it, because that's a situation.
I just think everybody had looked at it.
Yeah, but I mean, to really look at it, because that's a situation once you start getting into defining what is and is not hate speech and putting that in anybody else's hands, that can kind of spiral out of control. So
okay,
I would vote to wait on
so
it.
table this. Okay, is everybody mostly in agreement?
I think we need to wait.
Okay, so that will move to the next agenda in July. All right, then that comes to the item 8 for old business, new business, the 2021 board calendar.
And I think that's up to you, Megan.
was just letting you know that we are keeping our calendar the same for next year, following the same schedule, and wanted to see if you would like a physical copy of the board calendar like we made last year, or if you just want one sent to your email. How would you like that delivered?
Email.
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 Email for me too.
Is there anyone who does not want it via email?
Okay, then, sounds like email it is.
Thank you very much.
All right, and then that leaves the number 9 tech grant update. And number 10 for CARE.
Okay, so as Amy said, the new tech grant for the coming fiscal year, the 2021 tech grant, can we believe that? The deadline on that one is July the 6th, so I am working on that kind of as we speak. One of the major things that I know that I want to apply on is new routers for each of the locations to take us off of the way the firewall currently works, because it has been causing no end of headaches for both my staff and for Gina and Dustin, who are the IT folks through the region. So that's definitely something I want to look at. As far as other technology is concerned, between the CARES grant, and I'm just going to kind of take these both at the same time unless there's an objection. The CARES grant is not only allowing us to apply on some technology, but also some PPE type supplies, like the plexiglass shields, if we need additional gloves and masks and things like that. One of the things I do want to apply on is getting a paid WebEx account, which is like what we're doing right now, that will allow us to do some online content as far as like computer classes, story times, things like that, that we can do live. And with the paid WebEx account, we can actually live stream to our YouTube channel. So that's one of the things that I'm thinking about doing. We also, I think, would benefit from some video conferencing equipment and things like that. So there's some things that are eligible, things are not eligible. Some things are eligible for both the tech grant and the CARES grant. Some things are only eligible on the tech grant or the CARES grant. So it's just going to be a matter. I'm going to be kind of working on both of those grants concurrently. The tech grant is a matching grant, so the county has to provide 50% of that. I always budget for it. It's not new money that the county would then have to pony up in addition to what they're appropriating for us. So it really will kind of depend if we have even a vague notion of what we might get. I'm hoping that we won't get too much of a cut. I don't know if Andrew feels comfortable talking about that or not. But the CARES grant is a non-matching grant. So we can apply for up to, I think it's $20,000 of equipment, supplies, things like that. That's basically free money that we don't have to match. The tech grant, we do have to match. So that's kind of where we are on that. Like I said, I'm planning on applying. I'm working on them kind of at the same time so that we can get the biggest bang for our buck.
Any comments?
As far as budget process is concerned, everybody.
I can barely hear you, Andrew.
All right, I'll speak up.
There you go.
As far as the commission is concerned, the budget process.
Whoa. What is that?
We are not focusing on cuts as of right now. We are focusing on a lot of budget neutral items. I did not see many departments come in asking for increase from last year. Mainly budget neutral.
Yeah, and we did not ask, I did not put forth any kind of increase on our budget at all. I basically asked for the same thing we did last year.
And that's pretty much par for that course.
Okay, what is budget neutral, Andrew? Just as a matter of, I don't know what that means.
Budget neutral is basically asking for the same amounts did last year. No increases, keeping it neutral, keeping no increases on the board.
Okay. All right, thank you for explaining that.
You're very welcome.
Okay, any other comments on what Heather has given us? And Heather, does that cover the CARES too? Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to be working these both kind of at the same time because some things are covered by both, some are covered only by one or the other. So I'm just going to be looking at what the items that are eligible and what would be the best use of that money to kind of carry us through if we are remaining in a situation similar to where we are right now.
Okay. Well, that looks like that's the agenda. I'd like to thank Martha, Travis, Megan, Andrew, April, Amy, Carney, Heather. Is that it for calling in? And our next meeting will be July the 27th. And unless anyone has any other comments, are there any? Then we can adjourn the meeting.
Thanks, everybody.
And
Thank you.
just for the record, we are adjourning at 6:39 p.m. We did it in an hour and 1 minute, y'all. Good job.
That's good.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Be careful
Bye.
out there.